Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's after church tea time. My name is Shaleia, and we have Jose and Michaela with us, and also Ashen Magi with us to discuss today's sermon about falling in love with ourselves by Renato. And so, yeah, we had a beautiful sermon today. It was really nice to just hear Renato share about his relationship with himself and just the way that he's cultivated that and all the different ways that he enjoys it in his life, and just really the message of how we heal in this work. And so yeah, it was a beautiful message. And so I just want to open it up to you guys of like what kind of stood out to you guys while you were watching the sermon.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it because this topic has been something we're working on a lot. I really liked how Renato talks a lot about self-care because we've been like healing a lot in that area. And I really just liked how Renato was so just like clear about his boundaries. He talked about like having really clear boundaries and just like really valuing himself and just accepting himself completely. So I just thought that was really nice.
Yeah, how he was saying like how is it supposed to be? It used to be yourself and do whatever feels good to you, and that's why you need to just love yourself wherever you feel bad, and if something in your reality feels like not aligned, you can put boundaries in there, and it's also a part of loving yourself. It's also very important. This is something Jeff shared with us in the last class. It's going to do the healing, but you also need to put the boundaries with the the energy that you don't want, to not accept it in yourself. So yeah, it was like very nice.
I think one of the things that really stood out to me, and something that I was learning, is loving yourself is not just like loving, okay, I'm going to love this part, but like totally ignore this other part. It's loving yourself is loving all of yourself as you are right now. And this is something that that, like I said, I've been working through, not realizing, because you don't realize you're doing it, right, until these parts really start calling out to be loved. Like, for example, myself, as I go deeper into claiming my divine masculinity within myself, I realized that I was looking in the mirror, and even though I felt very masculine on the inside, I would look in the mirror and I would judge myself because the person I was looking at in the mirror didn't match who I felt on the inside. And so I, really had to go deep there and really like claim all of myself within and without, outside of myself as well, and not going outside of myself and getting that validation from someone else that says like, you're a man. So because it's only going to reflect my inner, like, because that's still an internal thing, even if it's like my body, it's still like, I'm still thinking it, right? I'm still thinking like, okay, my body doesn't match who I am. I feel like I'm looking in the mirror of a stranger. But so of course I'm going to manifest that from other people, calling me she or by my former name and things like that, right? So yeah, so loving all of myself is so important. And yeah, because it gets really uncomfortable, like, I can love my whole body, but I don't love my one arm. Well, that one arm's going to call for love, and it's going to like, it's going to be like a crying baby. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked how, like, in Renato's sermon, he was kind of describing like how we cultivate a relationship with ourselves, and he was talking about kind of his story and how it evolved, and just kind of where he's at in the process of loving himself. And we're all in different places, and we're all going through different things. And like you said, Ashen, it's just about like unconditionally accepting ourselves where we're at and loving ourselves there. And I think what's really like so like kind of unique about this healing work that we do is that it's like it's all about like inward first, right? And so it's like we love ourselves and then our lives change. Whereas like a lot of times when we're, you know, growing up in the world, everybody's always telling us like go and do something about your life, go fix something. And like really we come to this realization with this work that it's just one big love story with ourselves and God. And it's just about falling in love and just kind of like growing that whatever it looks like for us. And that's like the way is to just get to know ourselves and expand that love. And so yeah, it's really cool because it's not like something that we need to like fix things. We just need to just love and cultivate that. And yeah, I also really loved where he was talking about you know, how he like spends time with himself and he is kind of like his own best friend. And I think that that's also really key is just enjoying your own company and just creating a life that's supportive that you enjoy with yourself. And not needing to, like a lot of times we're kind of sold on this idea of like, I need to have friends and I need to have all these things I do and distract myself with to have a full, vibrant life. But it's like really about the depth of life that we experience. And I felt like Renato really shared that.
Yeah, I agree. I've always admired about Renato, like his self-acceptance, because you can just tell like he really accepts and loves himself deeply for who he is. So he was really the perfect person for this sermon. And I really liked how he mentioned that like whatever he needs, he gives to himself, whether it's like a bubble bath and wine, which is really nice. I love that. And he also mentioned like doing things that he enjoys, like, you know, traveling, going places, like just doing fun things is important because that's something that Jeff and Shaleia teach, that like loving yourself on the inside is part of it, but also like loving yourself in your life, like physically, is the same thing. Like there's no separation between like inner love and external love because it's all just like, you know, like you said, one big love story. So I thought that was really nice. It's just about like cultivating a whole life that feels good to you and like that supports you and loves you, which includes like being really particular about your relationships and your activities and like the thoughts you have about yourself. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's about having balance and not like focusing only in loving yourself in the inside, also in the outside. That is a normal expression of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be doing inner work all day and you can feel great, but your house can be a disaster. And you need to balance that also. Like that is also a part of loving yourself. Have a clean environment, so you can be like also supported in that area. So it's about, you know, balancing the two of them. Also putting the inner first, but extending that to the external. Yeah, and also something beautiful is the part that you're talking about accepting yourself, because it's critical to move forward. If you don't accept where you are, where do you want to go? Like you're going to be feeling bad until you get that thing, or you achieve that, or you whatever, and you have like a terrible journey. Instead of like accepting yourself now, having fun, and then everything moves very smoothly. You enjoy the journey, you have fun, you discover who you are, and that is a beautiful part. Like discovering who you are. It's like having fun with it, having fun with God, and letting God show you what you like and what you in the inside.
From peace.
From peace.
Getting to know yourself too. I find that evolves a lot. Like you think you know yourself and then you'll heal something or you'll have an experience and you'll go to like new places. So it's like very dynamic. It's a lot of juiciness to experience in our relationship with ourselves. Harvey says yes. But yeah, there's a lot, and I like that Renato also described that's very holistic. It's not, you don't like compartmentalize your life. It's like it's about like really, like you said, Jose, like extending your relationship with yourself out into all areas of your life, and really like having it all be very supportive and loving to yourself.
Yeah. That's what Jeff and Shaleia like teaches. You're bringing heaven to earth so that your whole life is like self-expression and it's an expression of you. And they also say like they're teaching, Jeff and Shaleia says like in a class that it takes eternity for you to get to know yourself. So there's no rush. Like you don't have to like know everything about who you are overnight. Like you can just relax into it. Yeah.
Yeah, going back to like self-care practices, the other thing that I really like that, Renato touched on was that, one size doesn't fit all, right? What is one person's thing is not always another person's thing. Like some people, love to love themselves, like nice bubble bath. Another person, it might be a nap or a hike or, things like that. So it's important that, what works to find your own, routine and what feels good to you, and not like, kind of like looking outside of yourself and comparing yourself to like other things, because that may not feel good, and that's actually not loving, to like kind of force yourself to do things that, don't actually really feel good to do, you know like some people, they like to ski. It's very in touch with nature. Me, you wouldn't catch me out there. Like that to me, like it would, like I have in the past uh, hurt myself very much trying to ski. That would not be something that I would ever try anytime soon. But I love to snowshoe, so like I'd rather do that. So yeah, it's just find what that thing, find your thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like honoring, your design too, like there's nothing wrong with the way that we are. And so like our preferences, our desires, the way that we think, the way that we operate, like when we're like looking at our lifestyle, what time we want to wake up in the morning, how we want to organize our schedule, like every area of our life can be set up in a way that honors us and what we really want. And so it's like, we're kind of like going through and we're like establishing this foundation of a life that supports our divine self and not stuff that we feel like we should be doing. That's something I also learned recently. And yeah, it feels really good to have like activities that you enjoy, being honest when you don't enjoy something, and also creating a life that feels really good for you too.
You don't have it? Okay, I will go. I felt like Renato's whole message was about just putting yourself first, and however that looks to you, like releasing guilt around that, and just like completely honoring yourself, which is something that really corresponds to like like our latest class with Jeff, where he said like people around you in the world and whatever it is you're healing is going to always invite you into like feeling guilty for putting yourself first and for like healing basically. And so I really like that Renato basically was just like, don't feel guilty, put yourself first, do what makes you happy, and accept yourself unconditionally, which was just, like it's a really beautiful message.
Yeah, that is how you discover how your relationship with God is supposed to be. Like when you love yourself to that area and you like, have your little bubble of like whatever you want, and you invest into it, you start like exploring, you surrender into that. You can feel safe in that space that you create for yourself, and in that safe space you can explore everything in your consciousness to see who you are. Like, okay, let's explore now. And that's why, it's important to have boundaries. When Renato mentioned like other people, because I remember I had also this experience with some friends, and it was difficult to be myself sometimes. It was very annoying, very like not the best space. So it's very important to put boundaries. And once you do it, it's like you can finally express yourself in that, like that safe space when you like honor God and you put God first. And you can put yourself first really without any, nothing in the middle of it.
That's really really great to mention that, putting yourself first. I just wanted to kind of touch on that. That when I first started doing this work, I didn't really understand what it meant to love myself. and it's a process of revealing, right? And I think, you know, a lot of us, like, we were never taught how to love ourselves. We were taught many things, and the one thing we weren't taught is how to love ourselves, or that we were valuable, that we were lovable. And so it's like, what is this? What is this thing? Okay, I love myself, but like, do I actually understand what that means? You know, because one of the things that we actually are taught, like a lot of people, I'm not saying everybody, like I know I was taught this, that putting yourself first is selfish. That you must put other people first. That there's people who are more deserving. Oh, you have nothing to complain about. You know, you're just a kid. That type of thing. You know, but um, it takes, you know, discipline, like, actually, to put yourself first, because it's so easy to fall back into those old habits of people pleasing, and yeah, and thinking, you know, these things about yourself, that like, I'm not as worthy as another person, but seeing that, you know, we're all children of God, and we're all worthy of love, and worthy of self-love, and that's just, and that's like this, we cannot give to another unless we give to ourselves first, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I just wanted to kind of like touch on that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Ashen, because I was kind of thinking on the same track that that was a really important thing that he brought up. I know, like, for me, around Christmas time, I went to go visit some family, and I had an experience with my youngest brother. He had an upset with me because of boundaries I had, and he felt like I wasn't loving the family because I was putting myself first. And so, you know, in that situation, it was something where he wanted to understand. So we sat down and had a conversation about it. And as we went deeper and deeper into it logically, we came to that conclusion that, you know, ultimately, when you put yourself first, what you're really doing is not only honoring yourself, but you're also respecting and honoring the divine in others. And it's about, you know, really empowering yourself and empowering others to be strong in themselves and love themselves, instead of playing that codependency game where it's like based on I'm lacking, I'm weak, I need you, and like taking and bargaining and all of that, that feels really bad. And even though this is something that a lot of people don't do, and maybe a lot of people might be upset about, it's really such a loving thing to do, to set that precedent in your relationships, and to, even in many cases, you might be sharing a different way of relationships with people who, and you know, otherwise probably would continue on doing codependent relationships and thinking that that felt really good. But just like kind of bringing like another option to the table, like, hey, it doesn't have to be like this. There can be a different kind of relationship that feels really respectful to everyone and their own relationship with themselves. And yeah, it might be different, but it's a very loving thing to do, to put yourself first, because it shows others, and it also really frees them up, because you're not looking to them to try to take from them, or, you know, you're not trying to bargain, which feels bad for everybody. And yeah, it's an empowering way to live. Imagine a world where we all feel complete and whole and satisfied within ourselves, and we just share that love with each other instead of feeling like we're lacking and needing to grab it from someone else. It's like, that's a really nice world, very harmonious and peaceful. Yeah.
It's cute.
You really reveal relationships very quickly the more you put that into practice. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense, like, because this is a pattern that most people have, that when you start to be the one to put up boundaries, they freak out.
Yeah.
And, you know, they try and like kind of pull you back into that pattern. Again, like guilt, but like, yeah, it's safe to just trust that you are actually loving them. And even if they don't see it that way, like the divine truth is that you are loving them, and that their like divine selves are being served.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's just a really great point. Like you said, Ajahn, earlier, like you don't grow up learning how to love yourself. You don't even know what that means sometimes. Like I think I'm probably everyone was the same when they found the work. Like they didn't understand what loving yourself meant. And so that's just a good example that as you do love yourself, you really do set everyone else free, even if they get upset by it.
Mm.
Yeah, and even when it's the most normal thing ever, once you know how to do it, because almost no one knows how to do it, is the weird thing. Like you are you are wrong. You are being eccentric, you are being selfish,
You're cold.
you are all of this stuff. Yeah, like just a normal thing. Like
Yeah.
something like, yeah, like it's safe to have that type of boundary and go to interact with that energy neither, you know, like
Mhm.
decide to vote like, hey, no, like I don't recognize that. Like I know who you are, period. I will relate to that. And that is the most loving thing that you can do with people when they freak out. It's like, okay, no, thank you. I offer you a safe relationship, a divine one, the one that you actually want. But it's your choice to take it or not. And it's setting an example to others that don't know how to love themselves. Because even if they are upset or something, they see it and they see that it makes you happy. And maybe after a while they try it out. And they start like, oh, this feels good and this works. So they can also follow by example. And that is how you can help a lot of people to get out of that abuse, of that loop of like trapping you into that. It's like breaking the chain in there.
Yeah, it's one thing when you're, dependent and you're, doing codependency, you have a codependent relationship. It's there's times where you experience lack, and one thing that when you choose to love yourself and put loving yourself first is you're in a place, you're approaching life in a way that when you have a need, you're not waiting for it to be met. You're not looking for where it can be met. You're not having to sit in that lack. You have the solution and you know how to love yourself now. And so that alone I think is just like a huge thing to share with the world and to demonstrate, because most people, as soon as they, like, I know me, like I had this memory when I was going through a really hard time. I don't know why this one memory sticks out to me. It's probably 10 years ago, but I was driving down the road. I got some really bad news on the phone, and immediately I just wanted to like pull over and talk to my friends. And then I would like literally, I went down like 3 different people on my phone trying to reach out to somebody because I just wanted comfort and I wanted someone to help me and support me and help me get through it. And I just remember that because I remember how like it felt so bad to feel like helpless and powerless, and to feel like I needed other people but they weren't available to me, and just feeling that like kind of going down the list of things to either get away from my pain or distract from my pain, or find some temporary band-aid type solution for it. And what this work allows us to do is to never have to feel that way again. Like we literally are able to just meet the need. And what a gift that is, to share that with the world, of a different way of living, that you don't have to live in that place of like believing that you're powerless and believing that you're dependent on others. And so, yeah, it feels really good. And it might be like not the most popular thing right now, but it works and it's a beautiful thing and it's worth sharing. And yeah, like just because everybody's suffering doesn't mean that you have to suffer. It's not like it's an enjoyable thing people are trying to keep you stuck in. It's not fun for anybody. So yeah.
Soraya, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like try to reach out to other people for comfort. And then I would be like feeling so bad because nobody, oh, poor me. No one's there for me. I'm so unloved. I don't have any friends. These people are fakes, but it was real, but it was really painful. Like
Yeah.
that was really painful because it was my own, like it was me calling out for love and I wasn't giving it to him. So that was the pain. It had nothing to do with the friends or whatever. It's because it always feels very painful anytime you go outside of yourself and for validation and for love, because it's just like it's because it's all coming from within. You can't go and remedy it somewhere else because that part of you Just like what I said at the beginning, that part of you that's calling for love is just going to get louder and louder.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's also, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go.
I was just thinking, like, it's also really acknowledging that, like, you know, it's a personal relationship that we have with ourselves, like our inner child and these parts of us that are hurting. It's like a relationship that you would have with anyone else. You know, it's about really cultivating that and you know, meeting those needs and, you know, not shutting that out just because it's within you.
Yeah, it's like not judging yourself and just accepting. And Lucy had a question for you, Shaleia. I just checked comments. It was about the conversation you had with your brother.
Oh yeah.
And she said, that's really cool, Shaleia, that you invited a deeper union through working through the conflict with your brother and standing with God. How did your relationship with your brother feel afterwards?
It felt really good. It was quite a conversation. It was probably like 5 hours, honestly. We just kind of stayed up all night and just talked. It was like one of those really deep conversations you just kind of get into. I have two brothers. One of them, it seems like right now, I have good reason to believe that he doesn't want to have a loving relationship right now. It might change, but this brother was someone who I could tell he was just hurting. He was really just hurting because he didn't understand. And so it felt really good to sit down and talk with him because he was receptive to understand. And we were able to have just an honest conversation. A couple times he did get very upset, got very angry, had to step away for a minute and come back. But it was actually a really good lesson for me because one of the things that I was healing at that time was around vulnerability. And, you know, like being willing to have those kind of conversations in relationships. I was always someone where I would just cut people out like really fast and just be like, I'm done, whatever, bye, you know, not even like taking the time to have those conversations, which was not loving. It was like a defensive thing. So yeah, having that conversation, it took a lot of energy, it took a lot of love, but it was really worth it. And at the end, I was able to also really reveal that relationship as to whether or not my brother was also choosing to love me. And so now it feels good. It feels peaceful. We still like had to agree to disagree on some things, which is okay. I didn't, you know, it wasn't about like me like convincing him to think the way I think. But he did come to the conclusion that, you know, it's a safe relationship and that he's being loved. And he also chose to, you know, unconditionally love and accept me for my choices and my lifestyle. So yeah, it was really nice afterwards, really peaceful. Also very tired after that conversation. But yeah, it was really nice. Do we have other questions? I haven't even been looking at the comments.
I think it's cool, like how some people can start off upset, but when you just give them the clarity and it's like giving them the opportunity to just like love themselves, and some people are open, and that's really beautiful. Like Renata's comment.
Yeah, exactly. It's really like seeing every relationship for what it is and not like kind of like putting people in categories or judging things based on the surface, but really feeling into the relationships. And those who really love you, they want to see you thrive and they want to see you healthy and happy. And even if they don't understand, they're going to respect that because they want to see that. You know, like with my example with my other brother, it's very clear that's not the case. Like he just wants someone to join in his misery. And so, you know, sometimes you'll find people on either side of that. But yeah, like it's the more that what I've noticed just with doing this work is like the more that I choose to love myself and heal, the clearer my life becomes. There was a lot of gray area before, and now it's more like I choose love, and either you meet me in love or it's not going to feel good for you to be around me. And I'm probably not going to want to be around you either. It's just not going to feel like a good match. And it's good. It's kind of like what Renata was talking about. It's like really orienting your life around your relationship with yourself. And yeah, it's it's safe to allow that to happen, and you end up with a life that really honors you, which feels really good.
That's a good point. And I think of when you're getting clear on a relationship, like the thing you have to do is like fully love them and just offer them the invitation to like join you in that love, and you just like you have to get all the way to the core of what they choose and like offer them the new choice. And if they don't make the new choice, it's when you let them go. Because I used to be the same way. Like I just cut someone off and just like be like, oh, they're bad, and I don't like them. But you actually have to like get all the way to the core and like love yourself there fully. And that's part of creating a loving life, is fully loving everything in front of you, including relationships, and just having non-attachment to what the person chooses.
Then you can have peace about it too. It's like closure. It's like, okay, there's never going to be like a part of you, a year from now, 5 years from now, where you're like, could it have been different? Should I have handled it differently? Maybe they were choosing something different and I didn't see it. But like when you really fully reveal it, Jeff and Shaleia demonstrate this a lot too.
Yeah.
The thing huge I've learned from them is like, they're so good about this, like really loving something to completion, to where it's like there's nothing left, and then it is what it is,
And then just having non-attachment to letting a relationship go or letting it stay. It's important.
Yeah. Oh man, we've been going for a while. I was like, wow.
Right. I don't even know.
Such a good topic.
Yeah.
Like very foundational.
Very foundational. It's like the thing that we're taught to do, self-love. Yeah.
It's funny that you guys brought that up about, having like, really, really firm boundaries, like, to the point where you cut people off, like just so fast and everything. I had actually I was laughing because I completely had forgotten about that. Like, like the first 6 months of TFAS, I used to like block everybody. Like whenever they trigger me, it was like everybody. And Chrissy brought that up one day, like not too long ago. Like, oh yeah, man, he used to have like really crazy boundaries before, because we were having the topic of boundaries. And I'm like, yeah, you just block everybody for anything. And I'm like, I like completely forgot I did that. Like that's not like something that I would ever do now. You know what I mean? Like, but it's funny how you don't remember, that type of stuff once it's, because I remember everything. I mean, I remember it, but I mean, it never was like I forgot that it happened,
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, what you guys were talking about, I've gone through this like with my family, like, all the way. Like, it was particularly with my mom. I would just continuously keep giving my mom more and more chances, and she would continuously reveal to me over and over again she didn't desire a relationship or didn't love me, right? But yeah, I had to see it, but I couldn't keep cutting it off every time I got mad. I had to like see it all the way to the end. And in my other family too, like revealed, like I remember like it was shortly after the New York City trip. I had gotten to an argument like with my parents, both of my parents. They were trying to like, because at this time, had left my job and I was pursuing my life purpose, and I was just really making choices for myself, and I had to put a boundary up there and say like, no, I know what I'm doing. This is my life. This is what I'm choosing. And I remember we all just kind of stormed off, like, well, not really stormed off, but they stormed off into like another room where we all kind of cooled off. And I just like immediately just started like doing, the mirror exercise and stuff. And so finally came out, and it was like, so like, my dad was complete difference. All of a sudden he was like, I love you. I'm supportive of you. And I understand what you're saying. And this is not who my dad is, like who the dad that I grew up with. you know, but my mom was still like, "Meh, meh, meh," like, you know, so it was like, okay, they both like just basically revealed whether or not they desired a relationship with me,
Mhm.
you know, and like, although like my dad and I had like a turbulent relationship growing up, um, you're that person who they may not be choosing to have a relationship with you right now, but that choice, they can always make a new choice.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, you know, that was when I knew, like, you know, that, and it was very empowering too, like, because I would never have stood up for myself before. I was way too afraid to, you know, and the same thing, like, I have an older brother and a younger sister. And my brother, like, doing this work, yeah, it revealed a long time ago that he doesn't desire to have a relationship with me. And we haven't seen each other or spoken like almost 3 years. So, but I don't, it was never a relationship. There was never a relationship there at all, anyways. So just naturally let it fall away. But my sister, my sister and I just we've gotten closer, right? And so it's, yeah, love seeing it all the way to the end. Yeah, they always will reveal, you know, that choice, you know, because, but yeah, um, it really showed me like how important it is to um, just continue just to love myself and you know and stand firm in that love and those boundaries, that I can't be harmed, you know, I can never be harmed loving myself and making choices for myself, you know. So I think that's a lot of people might, you know, and maybe like I had that fear at one time too, like um, of being vulnerable, you know, or feeling like I could be hurt um, if I stood up for myself, because in the past that had been my experience,
Mhm.
you know. So yeah, but it's
Yeah.
uh,
That's kind of like the lies that if you actually choose love and stand up for yourself, you'll be hurt or alone. But when you do it, it's actually nothing bad happens and it gives other people the opportunity to change. So it's a good example.
yeah, you don't lose anything
Yeah.
because you don't. Yeah, it's just letting go of what was never there to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, one thing I remember that Ajahn, when you were blocking everyone. I remember it was so funny.
Block you.
Yeah, it was funny. I think it was like I watched like a class or came across like an old post where Jeff was like, "Okay, it's time to unblock this person now." It was so funny. I just thought that was the funniest thing. Yeah, we all go through that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it was shortly after that is when Jeff and Shaleia had started um, having moderators, and I was the first person that they asked to be a moderator. And Jeff goes, "Okay, you know, you can't be blocking people if you're going to be a moderator."
Oh my God, I was like the opposite. I like discovered the block button when I joined the community. I was like, oh, I can block people. Oh my God, this feels so good.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Boundaries.
funny. It's a gift to the world having the option available.
Totally.
Um, yeah, it feels really good, and especially like kind of going back to these relationships that we have with people. You can literally feel when you draw these boundaries, like it's like a bid for suffering, right? Like get into this miserable place with me and fight with me here or be upset with me here or whatever. And it feels really good and really empowering to say no to that. It feels very loving to them to say no to that and to not meet them there. And yeah, if the block button's the way to do it, the block button's the way to do it, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts that you guys have on this, Aren, before we close up? Anything else you want to share?
I personally feel pretty complete.
Yeah, I think just encourage people to find your self-care routine and always make time to, you know, take care of yourself and put yourself first, even if it's just like, I just need to turn off the computer today and just have a nap because I really, this is really my body, like really listening to what your body is communicating to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it's lots of fun because the more you do it, the more easier it becomes and just natural.
Yeah.
And that relationship is one that you enjoy all the time because you're always with yourself. So the more you cultivate it and the more you invest into it, that's something you get to enjoy every moment of your life forever. Like that's eternal. And it feels really good to cultivate that relationship and make it what you want it to be. And it can feel as good as you want it to feel. You never have to settle. And so, yeah, that's another part too I wanted to share. Just, if whether you're new to, consciously practicing self-love, new to the inner work, new to unionism, or whether you've been doing this for a while, it's like, just keep going because there's always more to be had and enjoy. And you can think about the most amazing relationship in all of like your imagination, and that is your relationship with God. That's the potential of it. And like it should feel really good inside of your heart and your relationship with yourself. And it's like, I think this whole sermon from Renato is just a reminder of how enjoyable that can be and how juicy that can be.
Very true.
Yeah.
It was a good sermon.
Yeah, it's getting to know who you truly are. Like it's a beautiful unfolding. And and it's not taken away from, because you and God and your twin flame, you're all one. So loving yourself is loving God. Loving yourself is loving your twin flame, it's because, So.
Life gets very simple. Just having a bunch of things you have to manage and figure out and, bargain with. It's just you and God, and everything's really easy and feels really good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Love is simple. It's separation that's hard.
Praise. That's the truth. Awesome.
That's great.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. This was a really juicy discussion on a topic that is something that we're all very passionate about. Harvey's also very passionate.
Yeah, Harvey.
And we hope you guys enjoyed the sermon. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It's still on YouTube. And we will see you guys next week at the next after church tea time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.